The biggest money mistake most people make actually has nothing to do with overspending on food delivery or buying too many coffees. It's what you don't do in the first 24 hours after you get paid. That window, right when your money lands in your account, is the only moment that actually matters for your finances. And most people just let it pass by without a second thought. In this video, I'm going to show you a 5-step system that I call the Payday Flow. You set it up once, and from that point on, your money moves automatically before you even think about spending. So let's get into it. I've spoken to a lot of people about their finances, and the one pattern that I notice and that I see over and over is that people aren't bad with money because they don't care. They're bad with money because they actually have no system. Everything is manual. I have to do this. I have to do that. Everything depends on remembering to do something on this particular date that requires like 10 different processes to complete. And let's be honest, that just doesn't work longer term. So here are the 5 steps that you can put on autopilot that will let you go off and live your life without having to constantly worry about money. Because we want to take money and investing off our minds so that it's not stressing us out on a daily basis. So the 5 steps are: number 1, your take-home number. Number 2, paying yourself first. Number 3, setting a spending limit. Number 4, automating your investments. And then finally, number 5, doing a quick monthly check-in. So set this up once and it runs on its own. Let's start right from the beginning. Number 1, know your actual take-home number. You can't build a system around a number that you don't even know. Most people know their salary, but very few people actually know what hits their bank account after all the deductions. These are 2 completely different numbers, and your whole system has to be built around the real one. Here's what I mean. In Singapore, if your gross salary is $5,000 per month, then your employer is contributing 17% of that amount to your CPF. But you are also contributing 20% of your gross salary from your side towards CPF. So your actual take-home pay after your employee's CPF contribution is actually $4,000. That's a $1,000 gap. If you've been budgeting based on $5,000 per month, you've been working with the wrong number from day one. And that gap explains a lot of the end-of-month confusion that people feel. So what can you do? Just grab your pay slip. It's usually a 1-page document that your employer sends you every month, either by email or through your HR portal. Look at one line, net pay or take-home pay after all deductions. That's the number after your employee's CPF contribution and any other deductions that have already come out. That's what actually lands in your bank account. So write that down. If you're a foreigner who doesn't have CPF, then this is even more straightforward. Just check your latest bank deposit. Either way, you need that real number before you do anything else. Everything in the Payday Flow runs off of that figure. Now here's what to do with it the moment it lands. Number 2, pay yourself automatically. The first money out of your account should go to your future, not your current lifestyle. Most people budget what's left over after spending. Pay yourself first flips that logic on its head. You move money to savings and investments first before anything else, so your spending only ever happens with what's left over. In effect, by doing this, you remove the decision entirely from your own hands. Think about it like this. Your CPF already works in that way. You never see that money from CPF, you never spend it, and it can go on to compound for decades. The Payday Flow just applies the same logic, but to the rest of your income. So, set up 2 automatic transfers that are run on payday, or the day after if your bank needs time to process it. Transfer 1 goes to your emergency fund if it isn't fully built up yet, something in a money market fund or a low-risk yield product. For example, Chocolate Finance allows you to schedule automatic monthly recurring contributions with a dedicated Singapore bank account. Transfer 2 goes to your investment account by setting up a recurring direct debit with your broker. In terms of the numbers, I'd suggest starting with somewhere between 10% and 20% of your take-home pay split across both. The exact percentage matters much less than actually the act of starting. Start, then adjust, and iterate. But saving and investing only work if your spending doesn't eat through everything else. That's step 3. Quick pause. If you're at this point thinking, okay, I want to start investing, but I genuinely don't know where to put my money or how to allocate it, that's exactly what my course Investing Made Simple covers. It's built for beginners here in Singapore and is applicable to both Singaporeans and non-US expats who are looking to invest their cash, CPF, or SRS. It walks you through everything from your first ETF to how to build a low-cost diversified portfolio you can actually stick with. Link is in the description. Right, back to it. Step 3, set a spending limit, not a budget. Detailed budgets fail because they require daily decisions. A spending limit doesn't. A traditional budget says spend $300 on food, $80 on transport, $150 on entertainment. That works for about 2 weeks before real life gets in the way. A spending limit just tells you the total that you can spend freely this month after all your automatic transfers are done. It's one number, no categories, no tracking every transaction meticulously. If your take home pay is $4,000 and you're transferring $800 to savings and investments automatically, then your spending limit is $3,200. Some people split that across a bills account and a personal spending account. That can work really well. But the point is, you're not managing 12 different categories. You're watching that one number. Calculate yours now while you're watching this. It's super easy. Just your take-home pay minus automatic transfers. That's it. Now you know where your money goes. But there's one more thing most people skip entirely, and it's the thing that actually builds real wealth over time. Number 4, automate your investments. A savings account keeps your money safe, but an investment account grows it. A lot of people automate their savings, but never actually take the next step of investing. These are not the same thing. Money sitting in a savings account or a low-risk yield product earns maybe 2% to 3% interest if you're lucky. A simple low-cost ETF tracking a global stocks index has historically returned significantly more than that over long periods of time. That difference compounds over decades and can build real wealth. Here's what that actually looks like. $500 a month into a low-cost savings product for 20 years at a 2% annualized return becomes roughly $147,000. That same $500 invested consistently into a low-cost market ETF at 7% average annualized return becomes close to $260,000. Now that's $113,000 more, not because you did anything harder or smarter, but just because the money went to a different place automatically. Now, most brokerages in Singapore will let you set up what's called a regular investment plan. For example, something like Interactive Brokers Singapore or FSM1 will allow you to pick a date that's close to payday, pick a fixed amount, and then that gets transferred automatically. You don't need to time the market. All you need to do is just show up consistently. And with these brokers' recurring investment programs, even things like currency conversion from, say, Singapore dollars to US dollars can be automated. So every month you put in the same amount regardless of what the market is doing. Your savings are running, your investments are running. The last step is the one that keeps the whole system on track. And finally, step 5, do a 5-minute payday check-in. Automation does the heavy lifting for you, but a quick monthly check-in keeps everything on track. The goal here isn't to obsess over your finances every day. It's actually to reduce the mental load to one focused 5-minute slot per month. 5 minutes on payday. That's the entire maintenance cost of this system, and you really shouldn't be dedicating any more time to it than that. Here's exactly what you're checking. 2 things in this order. First off, did the transfers actually go through? Banks can have off days, things sometimes break down, direct debits sometimes fail. Just open your account and confirm the money moved to where it was supposed to go. Savings account, investment account. That literally takes 30 seconds. Second, check your monthly spending limit. Is it still realistic for this month? Did anything change? Have you got a big expense coming up, say a holiday or an unexpected dental bill? If yes, adjust your free spend number slightly. The system should flex with your life and not the other way around. So that's it, 2 things, and it can actually take less than 5 minutes. I purposefully left out checking in on your investment account each month because your wealth is going to grow over years, not months or weeks. But it's worth scheduling in a half-yearly check-in to ensure your asset allocation and risk are aligned with your financial goals. So that's it, 2 checks, 5 minutes, once a month. You can set up a recurring phone reminder for payday right now and label it Money Check. When it goes off, you'll know exactly what to do. So now it's time to pull it all together. The Payday Flow is 5 steps. Know your actual take-home pay. Pay yourself first through automatic transfers. Set a spending limit, not a 12-category budget. Automate your investments so your money grows in the background without you even realizing it. And do a 5-minute check-in on payday to keep the system running smoothly. It all sounds so simple, doesn't it? But that's the whole point. No spreadsheets, no daily tracking, no willpower required. The people who build wealth consistently aren't doing more than everyone else. Actually, they're doing less, but they've just built a system that works and that allows them to do that. That's the whole idea. If you want to take this further and actually get your investments set up properly, so the ETFs, brokers, how to build a portfolio that makes sense for your situation in Singapore, then check out my Investing Made Simple self-paced workshop. Link is in the description. And if this was useful, subscribe to this channel. I put out a video every week on building wealth in a way that actually fits real life. See you in the next one.